Legionnaires of the Lariat, welcome back. I'm hosting, and you know what that means. We're either predicting or we're reviewing. And tonight we are predicting AEW Wrestle Dream. Not Wrestle Nap, is that what I heard earlier? No. Wrestle Dream. It might be a little bit of a nap. With me, as always, is Steve, my tag team partner, Steven Zaft, and coming to you from the void is the one, the only Hound.
Hello, listeners. I apologize. We're having some technical difficulties up in the land of New Jersey presently, but hopefully the lack of my face and my voice will suffice.
For those of you listening on your favorite podcasting streaming service, which I'm hoping you're following at this moment in time, this is no different for you. Those on who are watching us on YouTube in the video form, Hound has no camera. It's where we're at right now. Steven, actually, I was hoping that you might be able to change that black box to Face. Remember Face from Nick Jr. when we were kids? You're on mute, Steven. Come on, get it together. Oh. One day not hosting, and you're losing it.
That's what I'm planning on.
Can you make him Face?
Yeah, I'm going to make him Face.
That'd be great. Face here.
Or like Buddy Christ with like Hound's face imposed on it.
Is it this? Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
If I make the gun fingers for in the NFL, I'll get fined or a 15-yard penalty. I'm not interested in for that. But welcome back. Before our banter, sorry. Even I'll start. We were thrown off a little bit by not being able to see Hound's handsome face over there. But we have a show that I guarantee you will be better than I think it will be, because this show seems a little lackluster in my opinion. I think AEW is hurting a little bit from their 11 pay-per-views in the last 2 months, because that's what I think we're at here.
So many.
I think the end of this card, the certain matches, the Mills card, will blow us away like they always do. There's some really cool stuff on this one. We'll get into it. Steven, what are you looking forward to the most in this card?
Let's see. I am looking forward to, obviously, Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita. Before we came on, I said, if Takeshita's not my favorite, he might be one of my favorite AEW wrestlers right now. He's definitely at the top tier of that. But I'm actually kind of interested in seeing this Hologram versus the Beast Morto match. Hologram has been he's on like a 13-match winning streak. He's undefeated since going to AEW. But the Beast Mortos has actually been really, really impressive. He's got like La Parka vibes, where he's a bigger luchador, but he's still
the chairman of the board.
Cool. Yes, just without the chair instead, because he's like a bull. He's like Man Bear Pig.
Man Bear Pig. Hound. What is standing out to you, bud?
I'm going to echo Steve's first choice. Obviously, I believe Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita are going to put on something spectacular where you're going to be like, my God, humans can move like that. Of course, I'm very interested to see my crush, Willow Nightingale. And
oh my.
No one knew.
Yeah. And I'm actually quite interested to see what's going to happen with the main event. Steve and I, on the NXT and AEW reviews, have been talking quite a bit about where we think this could be going, and we've speculated on some stuff, and I'd like to see if we're in the ballpark. Because if that's the case, I'd like to think that we called it out before anybody else.
Because they're always listening and they steal from us. It's the way it works.
They absolutely steal from us.
For me, it should be pretty obvious what I'm most excited for. Obviously, Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho. I mean, come on, guys. Let's be real. You might learn something in this match.
Looking to get number 9 here. He's already the Ocho.
Let's see what we do. But in all seriousness, of ones that you guys haven't mentioned, I think that this Darby Allin Brody King match might be like show stealer kind of potential. I'm not typically the biggest fan of Darby Allin. I'm curious on what they're going to do with him after they kind of took him down a peg. And these guys have matched up before in the past, and I think that this could be one of those things where there's two guys who are familiar with each other putting on one of their more epic matches. I'm hoping it stays to the ring, the right way to put it. I don't need Darby getting super kicked in the face with thumbtacks. But
you don't need him
I
to
will
go through a glass table.
No, I don't need that. But I am excited to see him pull out one of his more tamed high spots. One of the things that you are like, oh, that was cool again. Now you're reining it back into some stuff. So I really like this idea of Darby being like level set, and I'm curious what this one is. This one maybe not most excited, but most intrigued to see what we're in for on that match. Let's kick it off. I think this card is in order. At least that's what the Wikipedia is telling me. So I pulled this all from there. Let's kick it off with which probably should
Wikipedia
be
is never wrong.
Never, if it's on the internet, it has to be true.
No one knows.
We're going to start with this first match, which I personally think is a disservice because it should be the main event. Looking at Mark Briscoe versus the Chris Jericho. This one, like looking at this card and kind of the way it was slapped, it feels a little slapped together. Like these things are quick. They rushed this feud along well enough for me with Jericho and Briscoe, with Jericho invoking the name of Jay, and it was such a that we were talking about troll of the week a little bit ago. Calling out your dead brother could beat me, but you can't. Oh yeah, that's the troll of the week. That might be the troll of the month. And I am actually looking forward to this match to a certain degree. Because I think you're going to see it's more about the Briscoe side of things than the Jericho side, because I think they've set him up to still be face, but be more of a ferocious Briscoe. He's not one of these guys that are thrown into a like 6-man match where he just needs to do this one crazy thing to really make you get excited that you saw Briscoe do that crazy thing. Where in this one, he still will. Like, there's definitely a cannonball on all three of the people surrounding this match coming. But I could really see him being more ferocious, a real statement match for Mark Briscoe here. And so I'm going to give Mark Briscoe that win and retain the title as well, and kind of go from there. Hound, what do you think about this match?
This is one where I genuinely fear the booking of it, because I agree that the title should stay with Mark Briscoe in this. And that is who I'm going to pick, but I would not be surprised. Like, I'm like 60-40. I would not be surprised if it goes to Jericho. I think Jericho needs to go away. And it might be time to stop the in-ring stuff. Granted, look, right now he's still better than I ever was. So it's not like, I was just so wonderful in the ring. No, Chris Jericho is one of the greatest to ever do it. But Father Time comes for us all. And I love the idea of the learning tree, but it's time for Jericho to simply be a teacher to the pupils and not the teacher who's trying to, win the dodgeball game to reclaim some youthful glory. I think Tony Khan really loves Chris Jericho, and that's why I worry that the title may change hands, but I'm going to stick with my pick of Mark Briscoe. Plus, I just want to see some redneck kung fu and a froggy bow.
Sounds to me like you're afraid to learn something over there, Hound. But I get it. He didn't say anything wrong, but I think he sounds scared.
I'm terrified of knowledge.
Steven, where's your head at?
So I'm going with Briscoe too. I'm going to say this. It's one of those that Briscoe should win this. The win over Jericho makes it a much more legitimate title reign. My only thing about this is this match shouldn't happen on this card. This is one of those matches that if you're trying to build up something for Ring of Honor, they should have advertised it for Ring of Honor. That's my only issue with this, is everything that they're doing with Ring of Honor stuff on AEW, but they don't ever advertise anything for Ring of Honor on AEW, which it's still their other promotion. Like, they're doing Ring of Honor no favors. I don't care how many times you can watch their stuff on Honor Club or anything like that. Even some of the diehard AEW fans don't know Ring of Honor people.
Why would you need to watch Ring of Honor if you're going to get their champion wrestling AEW guys?
That's the problem. Is that's all you get. You get their champion, but you don't. No one. I don't even know if he wrestles on Ring of Honor. He's on every AEW show though. He's on Dynamite, Collision, and Rampage. But like I said, I think Briscoe winning this over Jericho, who is the Ocho, means he has 8 branches. Each branch is a title reign, a world title reign.
Well, he's already had this title too. I do like that.
That's one of the 8 branches.
Yeah, but does it branch 8, again?
This would be it would make it. I don't know what they would do. Noin? He's the Noin? Nueve? I feel like he would go for a different language at this point. But
I can't count to 10 in very many languages.
No, so. And I'm sticking with Briscoe on this. Like I said, I think it just him winning makes his title reign better. Jericho being the champion doesn't do anything for the title, and it doesn't do anything for Ring of Honor realistically.
I agree with all that, which is the reason I have Briscoe as well. I think you guys might get your wish. This match and the way they built it could be the send-off match for Jericho for a little bit until like Samoa Joe comes back.
Well, we're in October. I don't know when he does his cruise, but this might be close to the Jericho cruise.
So
that actually makes sense because we're just about, next month will be outside of hurricane season. So that seems like that could be a thing.
So just the way that they built this with Briscoe, like I said, to start being a little bit more vicious because of the things that were said, this could be a way to get legitimately show a way that Jericho could step away for a couple of weeks, months, then come back. I don't know have you heard anything about Samoa Joe? Because I feel like Jericho has to happen when he's back, or like shortly after, like give Joe a program when he comes back, and the second program is Jericho. Yeah. So, just thoughts. Looking into my crystal ball.
Went through a wall, man.
With a forklift. So we've already spent enough time on Jericho. I'll watch this match at least 6 times before we talk again because I'm looking to learn something here, unlike you savages. The next match here is Darby Allin versus Brody King. Steven, what do you think?
I'm actually a little stuck on this one because I'm looking at it in 2 ways. If they are going to continue to try to build Darby as some type of world beater, he needs to win this. But also, if they're looking to just not use him that much anymore, I think it should be Brody King, and it should be clean. But I think where we're at right now is they're going to try to build Darby back up after this whole schmoz with Jon Moxley. So I think Darby wins this. And I think he wins it clean.
It's so interesting on how hard they knocked Darby down.
Like just repeatedly though. Like it's
after building him up, so he was number 1 contender for the TNT title and the world title at the same time. He won 2 epic matches in order to get that honor, and then loses one, and then loses the title shot for another one, like in like a week. I don't understand that.
I don't want to say Jon Moxley reminds me of Aaron Rodgers in this point, but John Moxley kind of reminds me of Aaron Rodgers in this. Like, it might be your fault Robert Saleh got fired, bro.
Yeah. I'm sorry, who'd you say this one, Steven?
I'm going Darby on this one.
Darby. What do you think, Hound?
So if I'm correct, I know Darby and Brody have crossed paths, I believe, twice before.
They have, and they're both from Washington.
And if I remember correctly, too, each of those matches had some sort of hardcore gimmick to them. I believe one was like a coffin match, and then another one might have just been, for lack of not being able to remember what it was, I think it was called a street fight. And I'm pretty sure Darby won both. And
I'm not sure, but I also know Darby's never pinned him.
Yeah, it was something where maybe it was the last man standing and he trapped him under some stuff. And I could be wrong. I could be fabricating a match in my head right now, but I know the coffin one did occur.
Well, yeah, coffin and like last man standing both of those things wouldn't include a pin, right?
Yeah. He's never pinned him clean in a normal wrestling match. I know that's the story that they're going with.
And this is a normal wrestling match, right? I didn't miss something. I mean,
by AEW standards.
Fair. Yeah, so the refs don't matter.
No, not in the slightest. So this is one where I'm going back and forth on. And I think this is where I think the pick I'm about to make is going to cost me here. But I think Brody King needs the win. I think they have a legitimate monster on their hands. They have a guy who is a freak athlete. He's 6'4", 300 pounds, and dude moves like a cat. It's silly. I'm sorry, Darby is 104 pounds soaking wet with a brick in his pocket. It does not make sense. I know I'm going to end up being wrong, but I'm taking Brody King.
I want to pick with you here because I feel like by going with Steven here, I am asking to lose, just based on track record. This was one that I was a little torn on as well. The thing that's getting me here is I don't see how Tony and team have soured on Darby so quickly. I understand kind of turning everything upside down because of whim decisions, essentially. That's what it feels like a lot of, and that happens. That's why we have face heel, just out of nowhere. Swerve, living up to his name of being like, all right, for this program, I'm a face. For this one, I'm a heel. I can do what I want. But with this one, like, I feel like the Sting luster is starting to wear off of Darby. He ever since Sting retired, I feel like he was on top of the world. Not a Everest pun, but if you want to take it that way, you're welcome. I don't know. I got to go with Darby here because I do think they're going to build him back up as the face of the company. But, I could easily think this one's 50-50 for me. I feel like I want to take both and I'll be okay.
So can I, for just a moment, kind of, while you were speaking, I was able to more crystallize in my head my thought behind this.
Wonderful.
So Darby is one of the characters that the crowd can get behind. And even in a loss where it's like heartbreaking, it almost helps him or endears him more to the fans. And I could see them with him losing both title shots and everything else, almost like he's got to hit rock bottom again. And maybe this is something where Sting's obviously not coming back to wrestle, but Sting shows up to talk him out of I can't do this anymore. And we have the whole, the rise again thing. To me, that's why I'm picking Brody King is it doesn't make sense for Darby to win this right now. I understand that let's build him back, but I think you get more legs out of this if you push him down that path to become the sympathetic babyface. Like I said, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm taking Brody King just to see if we can have a definitive winner on our picks.
So Hound, that's the one area I do believe with you. I think if Brody King does win this, it's in order to make this a bit of a clinic rather than a one-off match here, because this could easily be a one-and-done match, like with very little build. I know, like I said, I know that these guys have history, and I think, and you mentioned it as well, Hound. And if they want them to have 2 more matches, I could see that's the way Brody wins this. But I think if they don't, and they're looking to get Darby a little more credibility, which is where I'm leaning. That's why I go with the Darby side of things. But this one is one of the ones I'm the least certain on.
The show in general just seems a little slapdash too. Like
it does.
Hey, we need to put together a pay-per-view and we need to put it together now. When in truth, they really didn't need to do this pay-per-view whatsoever. Like, and I'm not saying like it seems completely thrown together.
This feels like a Dynamite Plus,
which they just had a Dynamite Plus, and it kind of didn't deliver.
This could have been the Night of Champions Title Tuesday.
Title Tuesday. This could have been Title Tuesday, and they would have had a chance to beat NXT.
Do you know what match I'm most certain on? The next one.
That makes sense.
Jack Perry versus Shibata for the TNT title. I believe it's Hound's turn in this thing. So, Hound, why don't you go first, bud? And I'll get to mine.
Okay. Jack Perry's not losing this title. I mean, there's my pick. Now, I am a fan of Katsuyori Shibata.
Mm-hmm.
I get over the whole, I'm going to stand there and let you forearm me in the face 72 times and show you that I can just take that when... Okay, that does get annoying, but I do like Shibata's in-ring work. I mean, I was a big fan of the Orange Cassidy Shibata stuff. And I believe Jack Perry and Shibata are going to do really well. I think it's going to be hard-hitting. I think we're going to have a bunch of near falls. You're going to have a lot of the crowd popping for it. But ultimately, I do believe that the title remains with Luke Perry's Spawn.
You know, I could see this being Perry's best match since coming back.
100%.
Like I'm scrolling through some of them right now.
At the very least, his best title defense, because I still think the Bryan Danielson match was. I think Danielson got the best out of Perry.
Fair. I wasn't thinking of that match.
But as far as between coming back and especially winning this TNT title, this is definitely his best. Will probably be his best title defense.
Why don't you tell me more about that, Steven? Just your turn now.
I'm picking Shibata. I'm not picking Shibata.
Yes.
No, I don't know. Jack Perry is not losing this title.
You won't do it.
There's no way. There's not a universe. There's not a world. It's Bizarro land. Jack Perry's still not losing his belt.
I heard him say Shibata first.
I heard it too. I wrote it down.
That's not how that works. Shibata, like I said, I think this is going to be a good match. I think this is going to be different than some of the Jack Perry matches because you're going to get Shibata hitting a lot more of those like suplexes and stuff like that. It just feels like, again, this was another one that was kind of thrown together. And so, I would buy this if the TNT title was being used like a real television title. I could say Shibata might win this match out of nowhere if this was a real television title, because that's what happens with a television title.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what they're doing. They're trying to build Jack Perry up as, I hate to say this, but I think they're trying to make Jack Perry the next. It feels like they're almost trying to make him the next, almost like Kenny Omega at this point.
When I tell you guys, I am convinced that Shibata is going to win this match. I do it because I just wanted to see your faces. There's no way Jack Perry wins this. No, if I can't see it, so I'm just going to cut the chase. Yeah, I'm with you guys. Perry's winning this thing. Jungle Boy. It's all day Jungle Boy. Yeah, I'm convinced that he's going to win this. There's not much more for me to add to this one. This match could be good. This one also feels like a mid-card match, or like a towards the end of the night match on Dynamite. Maybe a Collision main event. Like,
it feels like all those things.
Like that's what
I
some
feel
of
like
these.
That's the feeling for this card, though.
Yeah, like, you know, the Briscoe Jericho match feels like a Ring of Honor main event. Darby, Brody, King.
Maybe because it's for the Ring of Honor Championship.
Yeah. Darby, Brody, King, I could see being a mid-card match on this card. Again, Jack Perry versus Shibata, Dynamite main event. Like, so this is one that I'm a little, this is why I'm a little lackluster on these. But maybe giving these guys a little bit more time to go out there and show us what they could do and proves us wrong. That, like, you know what? Like, these are better. That's what I said when I started. This show, I'm convinced this show will be better than it looks on paper. Because I don't know how it could be worse. Like, and not that it's bad, but I just don't see how this talent can perform less than what this kind of looks like with the lack of build. Like, it just...
Here's the thing. Yeah, I think that's where it is. There's a lot of lack of build. There's only one or two matches on here that have big fight feel, which realistically is what you want for your pay-per-view. I think if you take this card as just looking at this for wrestling matches, this will be a good wrestling match card.
Solid. Yeah. Yeah,
like we're going to watch it and be like, oh man, these matches were really good. But the story behind these matches are going to be like, well, yeah, like the show was great. And like, I'm not disappointed that I saw any of these matches, but at the same time, I don't understand why I'm watching these matches.
Do you know which match I do understand? I think it has the biggest build and has big match card feel. And thank you for helping me with that quick transition, Steven. It's Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita.
You're welcome, bro.
All day long, bruv. For the international title. This match coming off of a pointless match, but nonetheless, this match is ready to go. This is, on paper, this is the most exciting match of the night. Like, let's be real. I'm afraid it's going to be a little too choreographed, but what I'm really hoping for is every one of those hyper choreographed spots are just decimated by Takeshita. Like, Superman pose, double massive clotheslines, just right out of their boots. Like, that's what I want to say.
So, before I give any picks on this, I just want to point this out.
It's my turn first, Stephen.
Fair enough.
Go first.
Before
but you can go.
Gets any picks.
Yep.
I heard Bully Ray say this the other day. I know we quote him a lot, but he's right at this point. Anyone else get like Bolo Young feelings off of Takeshita? Bolo Young, for anyone who doesn't know, is the villain in almost like every Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Like, he's the main guy in Bloodsport. And I'm not saying, and when he said it, he wasn't saying it as a knock, and I'm not saying it as a knock. Like, Takeshita gives me that super villain vibe about him. Like, he might be the smartest guy in the room, and he can actually beat you up as well. Like, he has a little bit of that to him.
I wish they would lean into that. I don't believe that right now. I love that description.
But that's the guy he should be. Like, I could see him. Like, I could see him throwing the salt into Van Damme's eyes, and then yes, I'm going to win, and just kicking him around. And it takes the superhero effort to really beat him.
Mm-hmm. I think this international title is kind of being treated like the way a TV title would, because hey, that's what they do, is they just mix around what titles mean more. Right now, the TNT title is being set up as the secondary title in my mind. The way they're treating Jack Perry with that title, like the way they're trying to use it to build him, feel a little more workhorse-y. It's certainly not the Continental title or whatever one Okada is, because Okada's not even on this card. Which
nowhere near.
What are we doing? What are we doing here, Mr. $15 million man?
There's a couple titles that aren't on this, which is surprising because they have. Hey, listen, they got rid of the FTW title, which that's enough.
I don't like that they took that away from the world, but I get it. So I'll make my pick without further ado, because maybe I'm picking a little bit from the heart here, because I just think this man deserves it. And the reason why I think they're kind of treating this international title like they kind of pass it, I think they're going to just keep passing it back and forth to Ospreay in these weird ways. So I'm going to take Takeshita in this match to win.
How do you want to take the second one on this one?
Sure. So
that's my job, Steven. Stay in your lane.
So everybody here is crazy. It's clearly going to be Ricochet that takes the pin from Takeshita.
Yep.
So
I agree.
I think the reason they have to do this is they just pushed another Don Callis betrayal. If you're going to have this go anywhere, you have to take the title off Ospreay right now and give it to Takeshita. And Takeshita deserves it. I mean, we were hopeful it was going to be Takeshita getting pushed towards Okada, which ultimately made a lot more sense to me. But if you're doing this whole exile from the family type deal, the only way I could see it where Ospreay retains is if somehow Kyle Fletcher, after that whole like being torn emotionally thing, trying to get Takeshita and Ospreay away from each other, somehow prevent Takeshita from winning, or you could cement it further, and which I wouldn't want to see. I would kind of want to see this match. I mean, no triple threat really ends super cleanly anyway, but I would like there to not be an interference spot. But if there is, if Ospreay wins, it's going to be because Fletcher did something. But at the same point, you could also have it where Fletcher fully cements the betrayal. I'm hoping they don't do that.
I actually think you're going to find yourself somewhere in the middle. I think that if you don't want an interference spot in this, I'm sorry to break it to you, but I think you're going to catch one.
100%.
But I think it's going to be more Kyle Fletcher double-crossing Ospreay reluctantly. That, like, he has to do it for the Callis family. And to stay within, like, he's going to have to choose. Be it any way. He's probably going to have Callis screaming in his face, telling him to do it like he does. And this is the thing that they should have done 6 months ago, when instead of having Ospreay turn the entire Callis family face for a hot minute, because like why that happened, I don't know. But Steven, what are you thinking here, bud?
So I do agree with you guys. I think it's going to be Takeshita. If I can shoot, I'm just going to grab the pencil for a second, because I think this might actually make it interesting. This is a way for us to not have Ospreay and not have Takeshita win this. This is the only way I could see Ricochet winning this. And Showtime, I think you're going to like this one. He joins the Hurt Syndicate.
Oh, yeah. I've been calling that from the beginning.
If that's what I'm saying, is if this is something where MVP, who is clearly trying to build a stable of people, comes out, or you get Shelton Benjamin to come out and do something where he neutralizes the Callis family and Ricochet wins it, I think it makes it interesting for Ricochet. I think it makes it an interesting stable versus stable type thing. And you get a chance to get Ricochet into what seems to be more of a heel stable, especially the way he is. He's a much more natural heel. And you get him a talking piece with MVP. That's
the most important point. So I was waiting to jump in and say, I didn't want to interrupt you. I wanted to let you finish the thing because I'm all in. You're right. I absolutely adore this idea. I want to change my pick here to will that into existence.
Yeah, like I want that's the thing. I want this to happen because it makes this match, which should already be like a phenomenal athletic display, into an interesting storyline.
Yeah. You could see Takeshita being... I mean, let's be real. We could easily see Takeshita not winning this because they like to do that to Takeshita. Like, that's his MO.
Yeah, well,
like, a match he should win, doesn't win. It's
so bad that, like, his name is basically Takeshita because they take a shit on him all the time.
I wasn't going to go there, but that's fine. Will Ospreay is expected to win. I wanted Ricochet. Like I talked about this in previous episodes, and if you guys haven't heard, originally the Hurt Syndicate or the Hurt Business, the Hurt Business originally wanted to have Ricochet as one of their members, and they wouldn't let them have 5 members, and so they weren't. So
it would they
had 4. It would have been 5 with MVP. But they wouldn't let them have it, so they had to choose between Ricochet and the other gentleman's name, who I can never remember. Cedric Alexander. So they wanted both of them, and then so they took Cedric over Ricochet, and then let Ricochet go off on his own. This is a way to make that up. But you could easily see Ricochet, Benjamin, Swerve, MVP, and Bobby Lashley in a group.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about how they just run house in this whole thing. Like, this is fun stuff. It's just, I don't know who the tag team is in that group. Like, is it Lashley and Shelton Benjamin being the tag team to go to beat the Young Bucks? Because I feel like Swerve isn't a tag team wrestler at this point in time. He's the most legit AEW person.
That's also the only thing with that is if you put Ricochet in that group, I feel like it would end up almost being Ricochet and Benjamin being the tag team.
But he has this title in your scenario.
In my scenario, but like that's the thing is that seems like the most obvious one. But then again, also Lashley is a little bit older. So is Shelton. Shelton's not. He's not a spring chicken. He's still in better shape than 95% of the AEW roster, but still.
Yeah. But at the same time, for that reason, they could be a great tag team and dominate, just absolutely dominate that division for a while. Yeah. Like the Young Bucks have already taken the steam out of literally everybody. It's just squash match and just trying to find somebody to fill it in. But we'll keep it here as much as I want. I'm happy to take the L on this one. If that happens, I'm in. You have my full support. Yeah,
again, this goes along with my Rock coming in at number 31. I want those things to happen.
Yeah, I want that to happen. Something I'm less happy to have happen is the Young Bucks versus Private Party. I think, Steven, is it your turn to go first?
I think it's my turn.
You picked Darby first? You picked Darby first.
Yes.
You're up.
So it's the Young Bucks versus Diet Street Profits.
Yes.
I'm sorry, the not so young Bucks. The middle-aged Bucks versus Diet Street Profits. And the Young Bucks are not going to lose those titles. You are going to, I say it all the time, you will have to pry those titles out of their cold, dead hands. The Young Bucks are winning this. And I don't know what else to say about it. It's kind of a crappy build-up the way the story was. I think the match is going to be athletic. It's going to be a Bucks match because Private Party pretty much does the same things that the Bucks does. Just they're a little younger. It's really where it's at.
Hound, you're still with us, right? I can't see you in the void.
Yes, of course I'm here. All right. So what I want to have happen is I would love for Private Party to take those titles. Will I get what I want? Absolutely not. I believe the Bucks are going to hold those titles until Kenny Omega returns, and I believe that will be when the Golden Lovers return with Omega and Ibushi, and that will be the team that takes it from the Bucks. So until that happens, or until it's shown to me that that is not going to happen. I believe the Bucks are going to continue their, I don't want to call it a reign of terror, but their reign of something.
It's a reign of terror. Good. I'm with you guys.
AEW with an iron fist.
I'm with you guys. This is probably the match I'm least excited for. I'm just not into the Young Bucks. I don't know what it is. Like, they are talented guys. I'm not trying to bury them. I'm not trying to jump on a hate bandwagon or anything like that. I feel like their matches come on. It doesn't overly excite me. So for that reason, I'm out. But I'll take the Young Bucks because I don't think they're losing this match. I think that though I could see it happen, right? This could be that perfect moment for the Private Party to win when no one thinks they're going to win.
I'm 80-20 on this one.
And then they join the Hurt Syndicate.
Yeah. And there's their tag team. The Hurt Syndicate's going to turn to the NWO soon. We have like 8 members right now.
And then Shelton Benjamin can go after the Continental title and fight Okada. And I'm in for that.
It's going to be a while because he only defends that once every new moon.
Sweet. So we got another 2 months. It's all.
Yeah. I'm glad this worked out the way it did on the way these fall and who gets to talk first about this match, because the next match we have for the women's title is Mariah May versus the one, the only Willow Nightingale. Hound, would you be interested in going first for this one?
Certainly. And I feel as though I'm about to betray my crush because I don't see Willow winning this title, unfortunately. I think she will be out there. I think the two of them are going to put on a phenomenal match. I think, and Steve made this point earlier, I can't remember if it was at the start of the show or if it was when we were all talking before we started recording, that unfortunately, oftentimes the women's matches in AEW become just victims of card placement. And I worry that this gets overshadowed because of card placement and not because of in-ring work.
I'm sorry I don't mean to interrupt you, but coming after the Young Bucks and Private Party, I do not think is going to be a victim of card placement. If this is correct, I'm with you. If they follow up Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita, I 1,000% agree with you.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying that this one will either. I'm saying I worry that somehow this does. And I mean, the Bucks and the and Private Party, it is going to be a match full of high spots. So you are going to have a lot of the whole crowd gasping. So unfortunately, there can be a lot of air taken out of the arena because of that. But right now, there's no point in taking the belt off Mariah May. She is absolutely fantastic with what she's doing right now. I think the match is going to be fantastic. I think Willow will look adorable, and it will make me happy. But Mariah May is keeping that title.
I'm really disappointed that this is the only women's match on this card.
Agreed.
10 matches, one women's match. What is this, WWE? Look at what's going on here.
They gave 2 women's matches in 5 out of 5.
I mean, that's fair. I meant more like a Raw, because Raw we have 10 women in one match. That's enough, right? Is that the quota? Anyone?
Out of 300 or 3 hours of wrestling.
This one was technically 2 hours, but whatever. They have some really talented women in the AEW. And I don't know why this is the only one we're really getting. And there's some people who have been like eaten up recently that I would like to see come back, and maybe because they're hurt. I'm sorry, the names escaped me, and I am relatively new to the AEW. Who's the one that has the Mexican face paint?
Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa. Where has she been? I feel like I want to see her doing some real stuff. She's very talented.
She's relegated to like Collision and Rampage at this point. And that's the problem, is the only place that they kind of, again, this has been a constant knock that I said it with you before, and I say it with Hound now. The only place that they really further any storylines are Dynamite. Collision is just matches that are thrown together. Their version of feuds that they do are, well, we're going to do this match, and then whoever's in this match, whoever lost is going to do a run in next week so that we have to have another match between these two. That's not a storyline. Like there's no reason why it's happening other than the fact that someone lost and someone won. That's not how you build a storyline.
I'm just saying, I think that AEW as a whole may have a substantially more talented women's division. I think the most talented women wrestler are over in WWE, and that's essentially Rhea. And maybe you could probably throw Bayley on that list, as well as probably two more. But like, I think as a whole, there's a lot more here, and the rest, like, these guys trump a lot of the weird women's tag team that's going on over there. But for me, I agree with you here, Hound. I'm going to take Mariah May as well. I do think it's too early for her to take this belt off. Her, and I don't think Willow loses much. I feel like she's cemented herself at this point in time as a solid contender. She could beat anyone. I think if they keep doing this to her, we're going to start kind of going back on that where they're burying her. But I don't think that we're there quite yet. Like, she's really good at getting that person over that needs to get over. And this is a great spot for Mariah to kind of retain against Willow, maybe even through nefarious acts. But I think these two are going to push themselves to the limit.
So I do agree with you guys. Mariah May is going to win this. She's going to keep the title. I think a lot of this is all still just to build more up for either Mariah versus Tony one more time, or at the very least, we're going to get Mariah versus Mina. And because we're getting the whole Mina Shirakawa is confused by Mariah May acting like this, even when she's doing some of these nefarious things, like, Mina's not totally there for it. Like, she's not helping her. She's just kind of there.
Yeah, so I think you're right.
I feel like we're building towards at least her versus Mina, possibly her versus Toni Storm one more time. Maybe her versus Toni Storm at the Grand Slam Australia. They might go that long. That's February. Give Mariah May a good long title run with this. I've said this about women's matches on AEW pay-per-views before. I don't know if this is going to be the show stealer match per se. This might be my favorite match on the card. At the end of the day, like, this might be the match that has everything that I enjoy watching in a wrestling match.
And Willow, I know that AJ probably told you about us and stuff like that. So AJ, thanks for that plug. So I know you're listening right now. Just do me a favor. My biggest criticism for you every single time is that you try to do a move that it makes you look super strong, and then it just doesn't go off right. If you're going to do that move, and I actually love it when you do them, do it, like, have it look that you're that strong. Like, just get her up and throw her. And Mariah is small enough that I think you could just toss her around.
And she's athletic enough to go along with it too.
Yeah.
So, Willow, my biggest critique of you is that you have not called Hound yet.
It's not here nor there. Constructive criticism.
Outside of that, I think you're doing a great job. I think that, like I said, I'm excited about this match because I think it's going to be really good. This is, like I said, this has the potential to be my favorite match on the card. And I've said this a bunch about AEW's women's matches.
Steven, so far, you and I have all the same picks, and I don't like it. Don't like it. Does it continue here? I think it might not. I think this might be where we divert.
That we switch off. But
so the next one is Hangman Page versus Mr. Jay White. This is Jay White's return match.
First match back.
I'm Ron Burgundy. I haven't. As you guys know, I haven't been as in the loop because Hound has taken over duties for AEW. But this one, Hangman Page versus Jay White, I am contractually obligated to go first here, I think, because the way I set up the rules today, which are not the same rules as I've ever done before. But hey, here we are. I think Hangman is too over right now. I think the way he took out Swerve, I think this is one of those moments where they keep it in the hot hand. I know that Jay White is returning, and this is a perfect spot for him to do that. I think, like, we hedge our bets sometimes on here. I know that Swerve is looking to come back soon. So if Jay White does win this, I think it's because Swerve comes in and causes a little bit of outside interference. But for this one, I'm going to take Paige. Steven, I'll let you go now. And tell me if you're going to agree.
I'm going to go Switchblade. I'm going Jay White. I think it might be a screw job finish. I think. Here's why I'm going Jay White. If it's clean. Because Paige has pretty much taken out the rest of the Bang Bang Gang. Like, before he debuted, before he went out there and before Jay White came back out, he took a chair to both Gun Boys, and then he was about to pretty much hang Juice Robinson and, like, break his hand, I think it was. That was when Jay White came out. If you're gonna have him come out and be the conquering hero, you kind of have to have him be. You should have him be the conquering hero. I know Hangman is hot right now.
Hansel.
He's so hot right now. But also, even with all that, I still think it's kind of a screw job ending. I think Swerve. They're talking about Swerve doing something on this. He's supposed to be returning during the show. I could see that this being the spot that he returns on, and this is the screw job.
This was a short vacation for Swerve. I thought he was going to be gone for a little bit longer, to be honest with you. But Hound, what do you have? Some you have about 2 cents to throw into this pot?
Certainly. So right now, and this is it kind of diverges from what the two of you are suggesting, and while you were talking, it had me thinking a little bit about the 912 titles that AEW has. And I'm wondering if they're going to start kind of cordoning folks off. Like, I mean, I get, you talk about the other things. You have your folks who are your world title contenders and your secondary title contenders, but there's, what is there, 3 technically secondary titles in the men's division in AEW. And I could see them pushing Jay White towards Okada right now and having Okada and Jay White do some stuff together. I don't think you push Hangman towards any secondary title. I think because of how hot he is and how deranged he is, which has been, as much as I don't agree with some, we won't rehash some things we've talked about in the past here, but I don't see him in anything other than the world title picture. So for that reason alone, I think Paige wins. I think Swerve makes his presence known by simply appearing at the end of the match, like, you thought I was gone, kind of thing like that. Because, again, Swerve is going to have to be in the world title picture as well. I don't see... That's my reasoning behind it. It may not hold water. I may be missing the mark completely here, but I do think Paige wins. I think he needs the win more than Jay White right now, because I think you can push Jay White off towards Okada in that direction, or even towards the international title, and having him going in there with Takeshita, or having him in there with the Ospreays and the Ricochets, and you're not going to get a bad match out of that, and you can do something with it. But right now, I don't see them pushing any members of the Bang Bang Gang towards the storyline involving the Blackpool Combat Club or Bryan Danielson.
Do you know what that smells like, Hound? The perfect shot for you and me to tie this card and beat Steve.
I hope so.
If Brody King wins, or if Brody King loses, Paige wins. Is that how we get to a tie?
No, you would win.
No, I'm winning there? Okay, never mind. I was looking for the tie. I wasn't looking to beat you. I was just looking for him to lose.
I just took Brody King so that way we all wouldn't have the same picks. I truthfully, I thought we were going to all be matching. and Brody King seemed like the only like real coin flip to me.
There's still 3 more matches on this card. I can't believe it. But there's still 3
more matches.
So we'll go to this next one, and Steven, you're going to be up first on this one. We have the MXM collection versus the Acclaimed. I believe is it Scissor Me Daddy Ass? Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Did not feel good saying that out loud. But Steven, what's your thoughts?
I mean, do I have to?
Yes.
I don't.
You do?
Is it like why is my thoughts are why is this match on the main card?
Why? Like, if this is in order, why is this one of the last 3 matches?
This is. I feel like the bloom is off the rose on the Acclaimed at this point. Like we have just gone full circle. They are. I don't even think they're prelim or they're not even mid card anymore. Like they're just guys. They're just there. Everyone does not love the Acclaimed anymore. I think the Acclaimed win this match just because the MXM collection. I think they can take the loss. Realistically, I don't even know if anyone cares about this match. This match should not be this high on the card. Everything about this match just feels off. Like this should be a pre-show match.
Yeah, I agree.
This is a countdown match.
This isn't even a mid-card Dynamite match.
No, this isn't open. This isn't even an open the show Dynamite match because you want to open the show hot. This is a number 2 match on Dynamite.
Worst spot on the card. Hound, where's your head in this one?
So this is the I'm going to go in the kitchen and cook something for myself match while this is on. But I'm taking the Acclaimed for one reason and one reason only. One of my favorite channels on YouTube is a baseball channel called Momentum. And in that, they had a live at bat between a guy named Eric Sim and one of the members of the Acclaimed.
Oh, it was Bowens, wasn't it? Not the guy without the mustache, the guy with like the full beard.
No. But either way, it was hilarious to watch a former close to making it to the big leagues pro have to go in there and try to strike out the pro wrestler, and whoever lost that current at bat had a move done to them, and I laughed and laughed. And because he was in that video, I'm taking the Acclaimed.
I'm going to take the Acclaimed because, in honesty, I think that they want them to continue middling around here. Like, they don't want to push them too hard, but when the Young Bucks run out of opponents, they can throw them back in here again. Because this time, they might lose again. They'll lose. I don't have much to say about this match. I already kind of threw a couple snide comments at it here and there. I agree with everything you guys said.
You're muted.
Was I muted that whole time? Oh, man, I said a lot of really insightful things.
I agree with everything that you just said, and then we lost you for a second.
Oh, that's weird. So, yeah, I agree with you guys said. I won't overly rev on this one. I think that they like to keep the Acclaimed in the middling of the pack. You guys heard that part.
Yeah.
You responded to that. So, yeah, I'll stop there before I repeat myself twice. Hound, you're up for Hologram versus Beast Mortis in Luchador rules. Is that what it's called? Lucha Libre rules?
Well, it's 2 out of 3 falls.
But that's the Lucha rules.
I think so, yeah.
So I think that's the kind of match it is. But Hound, what are you thinking about in this one?
I don't see Hologram's undefeated streak coming to an end here. He definitely is going to drop a fall in this, And in fact, I could see him dropping the first fall.
Uh-huh.
But Hologram has been very entertaining, to put it mildly. I'm not always the biggest fan of the lucha stylings, but Hologram scratches an itch in my brain for me. And I'm a fan of what he's been doing. And Beast Mortos, he's a solid hand in the ring. Like he's one of those folks where I believe if you're looking at the sheet for the night and you realize you're working him, there's no, oh man, I can't believe this is happening, or running because you saw you were matched up with Vader and running in fear. More like, all right, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna go do some good work tonight. But I don't see a reason to stop the Hologram hype, if you will.
I'm with you. I think that they're pushing Hologram. I think that they might actually be thinking about, let's get this guy a win streak, like a real solid win streak that might be one that people have to aspire to beat later on down the road. So I think Tony has a big man crush on Hologram. I think this will be a good one. I think this match will be better than most people think. I don't think people think this match will be bad. But I think that this one is another one of those like that could steal the night based on how talented these guys are. The style that's going to be be drastically different than every other match on this card. Setting up the main event, really getting the crowd hot again before Danielson and Moxley come out there. This match just has tons of potential. So I think Hologram takes this one down. I agree with you, Hound. And this one is one that I'm getting excited for.
I'm actually really excited about this match as well. I think I agree with Hound on this one. I'm not always the biggest lucha guy, but Hologram, I don't want to necessarily say he has Rey Mysterio vibes.
Ooh.
But he might have old WCW Juventud Guerrero vibes. Like before Juvi went crazy. Maybe. Like before Juvi went crazy.
The
like
juice.
This. Yes. I'm the juice, man. I'm also very, very impressed. I agree with how Hound put it. Like, Beast Mortos is a great hand. He's one of those guys where, how he put it, if you see your name on the sheet with his, all right, we're going to do a good bit of business tonight. Like, this is, I'm not going to have a bad match. This is not going to be a bad showing. I actually compare the Beast Mortos a little bit to the way Andrade wrestles right now. But believe it or not, it feels like Mortos is kind of smoother with how he does it. And I'm not saying Andrade isn't good. What I'm saying is it just feels like in the ring, Beast Mortos is actually like he transitions better into how he does his stuff. I still think it's Hologram. Hologram is going to win this. I think a nice way to continue this win streak too would be to eventually maybe build him towards Jack Perry in that TNT title. I think that would be a nice way to elevate this win streak. Is, hey, like I'm 20-0. I think let's put him in there with Jack Perry and let him do. And neither one of them like dwarf the other guy either. So like they're about the same size. You could see this match being pretty good, and that could turn into something. Again, I'm always going to consider the TNT title kind of a TV title, and those are the size guys that really, really used to make the TV title shine. Was the holograms, the Jack Perrys. Back in the day, it was like the Prince Iakeas and the guys like that for a while. The Jerichos when he held it. But I'm absolutely sticking with Hologram on this one. I don't think they're ending this win streak, especially not with his first match on a pay-per-view.
Agreed. I just think this is just a no-brainer. And now that brings us to the main event. About time. Just know that this pay-per-view will be 4 times longer than this show is right now. This one's going to be a long one, folks. We have Bryan Danielson versus Jon Moxley, career and AEW World Title on the line. Seems like Bryan Danielson's putting a lot on the line, and no one has no risk whatsoever.
Who would do such a thing? Darby Allin.
Yeah, no, I mean, he just puts his life on the line every time.
And his title shot.
This one, I think it's clear to me that Jon Moxley is going to put Bryan Danielson over. And because I don't think Danielson's ready to sunset. I think he is in he's clearly in a retirement tour of such. And I think that there's a couple more matches we need to see with him. I think I would love to see another Ospreay. I would love to see Takeshita. I think there's people who need to go up against him. I hope that Christian's cash-in isn't a Money in the Bank style cash-in. It's going to be, but I would like to see Christian versus Danielson for this title in like a legit way, rather than just at the end of this match when he's beaten up and he's already done his "you broke my neck" spot, because he does that every match now, and it's not believable. So in my mind, I'm all in for Danielson. I think this is going to be a good match. I'm assuming this is going to be my favorite Moxley match I've seen since coming over to AEW. Mostly because Danielson does that to literally everything he touches. But I'm going to go Danielson. Steven? You agree? Is this it?
I agree. I'm going Danielson. My only question lately is who's gonna be the guy that ends the Danielson reign? It has to be soon, because he has to have his neck surgery soon. Like, he's literally
so they say.
They've said he's having neck surgery. He said he's having neck surgery by the end of the year, which means he doesn't have that much longer to lose the title, realistically.
Are you telling me that a wrestler always keeps his word?
That's fair. Or do they have him go out? Do they have him have a retirement match? Tony's already proven that he'll let a guy go out on top.
I mean, it's fair. Like end of the year, he just retires undefeated.
And Tony loves a tournament.
I mean, I love a good tournament too. I won't lie.
I love a good tournament. I'm leaving it at that.
Hound, do you love a good tournament?
Of course, I'm a big fan of every tournament.
Do you think Jon Moxley has the moxie to take down Bryan Danielson, the American Dragon?
God, I hope not. So Moxley and Danielson have squared off twice in AEW, and Moxley has come out on top both times. If you're doing this, look, if Danielson's saying, hey, I just can't go anymore, fine. It is what it is, man. Go get your neck taken care of and go be around for your family 100%, and screw what anybody else thinks. It's your life, obviously. But what I ultimately hope happens here, and this is what I've been saying, and Steve and I have been kind of exploring this rabbit hole a little bit that I don't think anybody's talked about, is truthfully, I could see, and you added a wrinkle because I completely forgot about the Money in the Bank. That's not the Money in the Bank cash-in. That's inevitably coming.
It's the Money in the Bank. That's not. I did.
Yeah, it's the not Money in the Bank. It is cash-in. I think we're going to get this push to Yuta being the one to potentially end Danielson's career because of everything that happened and is going on there. And what a better way. This makes Christian even more of a just dastardly, awful, wonderful heel, because Scott, he is fantastically wonderful. Yuta goes out there and beats his hero. And it's this emotional thing and everything else. And Danielson and Yuta
he's crying in the ring, holding the belt.
Christian
the childhood dream moment.
And then Christian comes out and he's like, and I will be your father. And then beats him with the belt like a dad would.
All I could hear is Yuta.
But I am taking Danielson. God, I hope it doesn't go to Moxley. I've been saying for a while, keep that title away from him. Granted, right now, Moxley, with what they're doing, sure, he's menacing. He's actually threatening.
That's my only question for you, Hound, because we've been paying a lot more attention to the AEW stuff lately. If you have Moxley lose this, which clearly it has to be clean if he does, like Bryan Danielson's not going to lose because of outside interference realistically. Does it take some of the wind out of what he's doing? Does it take the wind out of the sails of what he's been doing?
Ultimately, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because he's still going to be the figurehead of the Blackpool Combat Club. And at all times, no matter what happens, we can say he slipped on a banana peel in the match, whatever it is. At all times, Moxley is a threat for that title. At all times, Moxley is a threat for whatever world title is associated with the ring he happens to be in that moment. And they may be gearing up to get to another Moxley run, but ultimately, and this is I'm hoping it's going to go down the route of Yuta wins it and Christian cashes in on him. So Yuta has like a 14-second title run, which, would be the ultimate because Yuta has such a you want to hug him face when he looks like he's about to cry. And I think that would be extra perfect. And who knows, Steve, maybe you'll get your wish of Yuta not sounding like tech support when he's upset about losing the title he had for 12 seconds.
He sounds like tech support.
I love that, Hound. I think that is the perfect one. I am convinced, though, that Bryan Danielson's going to lose to the Money in the Bank. Like, that's going to be what it is. It's going to be so unsatisfying when it happens, too. But
you mean hey, Money in the Bank's WWE is that thing? It's dollars in a financial institution. Thank you.
No, that would be, I guess so. It's
kind of like how
they even have briefcase.
Like how Mercedes Moné is no longer Sasha Banks and she's not the boss; she's the CEO.
The CEO, also not on this card.
Card.
As a quick recap, everybody, sorry that our picks are so similar, but Steve was afraid to get risky in this one to try to make up some ground. I guess he's just conceding defeat. Is that what that looks like to you, Hound? I think he's never going to be able to catch up.
I think he's learned his lesson. Little behind the scenes for everybody. Steve used to constantly bag on me back in the day when we talk about upcoming, and this is back when WWE had pay-per-views. And be like, Hound, you're always wrong. Until I wasn't. And I love to see that Steve is always wrong.
Not only is he 12 picks behind me, but he's a pick behind you. You and I are tied. That's what I was hoping for here. I don't think we can tie here if I'm re-looking at this because I think we have one difference. But I'll do a quick recap for Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho. We all have Mark Briscoe. For Darby Allin and Brody King, Steven and I both have Darby Allin. Hound has Brody King. We have Jack Perry versus Shibata. All three of us have Jungle Boy. Will Ospreay, Ricochet, and Takeshita. We all have Takeshita. We have Young Bucks versus Pride Party. Young Bucks to take it. We all have Mariah May beating Willow Nightingale.
Sorry, Willow.
Hound and I both have Hangman Page versus Stevens J. White pick. All three of us have the Acclaimed coming out on top. All three of us have Hologram coming out on top. And all three of us have Bryan Danielson coming out on top. Steven, I think it's physically impossible for you and I to tie. Hound, it is impossible for us to tie. It is possible for the two of you to tie. But then I would win. And that is our picks for Wrestle Dream 2024, brought to you by AEW. AEW. No. Get it. You can chant it. I'll allow it. I think we have a good show coming out here tonight for you guys. Any closing remarks, Steven or Hound, on this show?
Yes, and I think we have been very, very critical of AEW, deservedly so for a long time, but I would like to end it with saying a bit of hope for them. I hope this show over-delivers in such a way where we're going, can you believe how entertaining that was? That's my most sincere hope for this card.
I'm in. Like I said, I don't think it can underperform.
I honestly believe that I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised with this show as a standalone show, as just watching wrestling. This is going to be, I think it's going to be a cool wrestling show. If you can take this show for what it is, standalone, it's going to be good. I think
in a
it's
vacuum,
the fact
100%.
that, in a vacuum, it's going to be really good. The problem is we have to take into account the way storylines were built and the way matches were put together, and it just seems a little slapdash. But again, I do agree with how I hope that we are wrong. I hope that all of a sudden we get a bunch of payoffs that we never thought we would get, and this is amazing. I hope Bobby Lashley comes out. I hope Swerve does a million things. I hope, maybe we get a cash in the financial institution cash in. I don't know. Who knows? Other than that, guys, Legion, if you are liking what you're watching, please, please, please hit the follow, hit the like, comment. I promise you, one of us will comment back to you. We have been very good about that. We love you all. If you are watching us, though, please follow, like, subscribe, all that jazz. And thank you for continuing to follow us.
Yeah, we're starting to see some traction, everyone. Like your support has been helping the subscribers, the people who are watching these. Our videos have been getting more views and quicker than we've seen in the past. And we can't tell you how excited we are and how appreciative we are of you guys doing that. We do this because we want to sit around and we want to talk about this. We want to break this stuff down for you. We want it to be entertaining for you guys. I think my biggest, if I could beg anyone here, tell us why we're wrong in the comments. Tell us why we're right with these picks. What are your picks? Give us some insight into why you think that we're wrong on certain ones, why Steve's always wrong, whatever it happens to be. Please just get into this, because if we can get a little banter with you guys in these predictions, I think we can make a better product for you, for us, for everybody. With that, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming out and hanging out with us. And Steven?
Always tuck your chin when you bump.